Y'all know what it is. It's the Find the Boxer game. Purchase a box for a chance at winning $500. One of 54 boxes has a missing boxer inside. Purchase your box or boxes by Cash Apping $ usual 50/50. Include your box number, name, and email address. Your box number will be confirmed and sent directly to your email. Each box is $20 with a 1 in 54 chance of winning. Remaining proceeds will go directly to the LDBC meet and greet in Las Vegas. Shout out to the LDBC, and remember,
it's a usual suspect day.
Y'all know what it is. It's the usual suspect 650-50 draw. Buy your tickets now for your chance at winning half the pot. Cash App, $ usual 50/50. Tickets are on sale for $10 for one, $20 for 3 tickets, and $50 for 10 tickets. Put your desired amount, name or alias, as well as your email address, and your tickets will be set. We announce the winning ticket numbers every other Friday on Supreme Beats Boxing Talk Bullshitting on the Beltway, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Remaining proceeds will go directly to the LDBC meet and greet in Las Vegas. Shout out to the LDBC, and remember,
it's a usual suspect day.
Push the weight and no flex. Flex the live is 1 in the 6. Fit the runner boy, you nigga, no question. You ain't run a motherfucker high stepping. Hey, you never had a big enough weapon. Motherfucker never learned your lesson. I'm a 88 pack nigga. I'm a 88 pack nigga. I mean, day walker, drink blood, trains out, full moon, motherfucker change like a hoe, nigga. I'm just a nigga from the hood trying to stack a little cheddar for the money.
Happy 4th. Yeah, buddy. Drew Titan Bronx on deck. Shout out to the mighty LDBC. It's a holiday today. American independence. It is what it is. Let's do this roll call real quick. Let's get to it. Got a few things I want to discuss. Brother Accurate, Vic Blackwell. This is Shelton, Tay-Tay, Dal Anderson, Mark Hairston, HMC, Bob, Black Martial Arts Society, Son of Tank, Freedom's March, Coach Hudson, Cameron Fields, Eric H., Rod Neal, BVO, Michael Ray, Freedom's March. Early in that super chat, he said 4th of Jay's. 4th of Jay's Lie Cookout. Yeah, you know what it is. 704 Joe. Bull Bounce Balls. He says Wardley by KO. Yeah, bro, we're going to talk about it. Michael Ray. Great vibes, Ray. What up, man? Where you been? Good to see you. Yup. Jumped on me. Stephen X. Salute, good brother. Smash the like button, like and share the video. We are our own algorithm. Let's not leave it up to Miguel to do a goddamn thing for us. Miguel! Stormy, what's going on this morning, brother?
Yo, salute. Happy 4th, everybody. Just enjoying this time, man. You know, I don't get many of them, so I take my little break, and you know what I do? I jump right back into the fray of what we do here, because we gotta maintain. We gotta hold the line.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Derek Gaines, a legend. Salute. Isaiah, what up, man? Come on in, smash the like button, share the video. And yeah, man, let's talk some boxing. Remember boxing?
By the way, let me plug my merchandise while I'm at it. You see, I'm having my orange juice spritzer this morning in my nice little Stormy B-Man, the Sensei mug. You can go to the channel and get them, you know. I got to get my plug in.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Oh, the International Quiet Storm. Salute. Salute. Let's talk some boxing. Remember boxing when you just talk about the X's and O's and not who's a fan of who and who you're going to pull up on because you don't like this guy? Remember just talking boxing? Remember those days? 80s, 90s. So we're gonna talk some boxing this morning. I saw a interview. Jarrell, what up? Saw an interview yesterday. I follow Carl Froch, the Cobra. I like Carl Froch. He was a no-nonsense guy in that ring. I like Carl Froch. He ain't pull no punches in the ring. And he ain't pull no punches when he's giving his opinion on certain things. So yesterday, I'm watching a video, and Jarrell Miller walks up on him, and they start having a conversation. Yeah, Mr. Shelton. I have it somewhere. Gotta find it. Joe, what up, Joe? So Jarrell, pretty much, lets him know, you said some things about me. I didn't appreciate it. It comes with the territory. We all say things about a lot of fighters, but opinions should be based off of facts. So Carl was like, well, I don't recall exactly what I said, but Jarrell has been in the line of fire due to his own doing. NBA D Nice, salute. And I don't remember what Carl said, but if it wasn't good, Jarrell understands that those wounds are self-inflicted. They're self-inflicted. So, it is what it is. So they had a conversation. I skimmed through the video, whatever. The comment section was undefeated as usual. The comment section was like, some guys was like, yeah, once again, someone presses Carl Froch and he says nothing. I'm like, look, Carl's a fighter. It is what it is. But, it's always funny when these athletes say something backwards. And one of the things that Jarrell said was, he says, it's bridge under the water. I was like, oh, no. Bridge under the water?
Well, I can interpret that when he says something like that for the idiots amongst the class. The bridge under the water, that means your shit has sank, brother. Yeah.
Yo, I scrolled down in the comment section. Somebody put in quotes, bridge under the water. Jarrell Miller, 2025. Yo, that was so funny.
Just like his career,
Yeah, man. But the reason why I decided to talk about this is because Jarrell Miller never fails to talk about everybody around him. And the thing is, he had all of the physical makeup to, even if his 2 seconds of fame was indeed 2 seconds, he had everything going for him. He had the gift of gab, he had the look, and he's from Brooklyn. He's from Brooklyn. Mike Tyson, Zab Judah, Shannon Briggs. He's from Brooklyn.
Riddick Bowe.
Wait, isn't Rocky Marciano from Brooklyn? I forget. But he goofed up, and he's a physical specimen. He's 300 pounds, and he had a gas tank on him. He was like, okay, he caught the eye. So I was just watching, like, yeah, do your thing. And then not the inevitable, but typical. He pops. There's a lot of that going on in boxing, right? He pops dirty. Now, let me ask y'all a question. And Jarrell, he's a black man. He's from my city. I'm from the Bronx. He's from Brooklyn. So automatically, I was rooting for him. Automatically. And then he pops. Not for 1, 2, 3, but 4 different things. And this is leading up to the Anthony Joshua fight. I'm just giving y'all a backstory. Now, y'all know I'm not an Anthony Joshua guy. Off the back, I was rooting for Jarrell Miller. Right? But you know what I said when he popped dirty? I said, damn, man. I don't like AJ, and I definitely wanted him to destroy AJ, but I didn't want him to kill him.
This mark was taking.
Oh, okay.
This mark was taking a cocktail of PIDs, man.
Yeah.
A cocktail. Literally. You
Four
understand?
different things. 4 different things. And you want to talk about accountability? He says, yeah, well, AJ gets testosterone exemptions. I don't know if that's true or not, but AJ never popped, man. You can't really, you know what I'm saying? He's never been guilty of anything. Until he pops, you can always suspect things. I get it. But at the end of the day, you have to pop dirty. AJ never popped dirty.
And he had popped dirty before that.
He popped dirty before. Thank you. He comes from a kickboxing background. All those dudes in K, and I'm not going to say all of them, but in K1 and MMA, a lot of those guys are on peds. Even John Jones was on peds and cocaine and everything else. Keep it a stack. Y'all remember Pride FC? Man, 80% of the athletes in there were on drugs. They just didn't test over there. That's it. Come on now. So he's familiar with it. And plus, he hung around a bunch of bodybuilders. You know what time it is. He knew, not to say all the bodybuilders he hung around were on drugs, but when you hang around certain people, you get scooped up on game. You get scooped up on game, and 4 different things. And I said, bro, and I told y'all at Devin's fight at Madison Square Garden, I met him. And when I dapped it up with him, I said, bro, and he knew where I was going. He said, I know, man. I said, bro, come on, bro. I was rooting for you. He said, I know. I'm going to get right. We dapped it up. We took a picture. That was the same night he sat next to Eddie Hearn and told him, yo, man, I want to come back home. And I said, oh, my God. Come on, brother.
So is he truly a specimen, or is he truly special, man? Huh? Listen, man, I have to hit him hard because
you gotta be honest. We wouldn't be who we are if we didn't.
It's about being honest, but it's about not accepting someone who is a bridge underwater. You got to hold these guys accountable. There's that word again. We got to talk about the character. There's that word again. And people like Miller, he would be the same freaking individual if he played professional football or some other sport. You said he was in the MMA or whatever, but it doesn't matter, man. It's who he is inside. Who he is inside. And there are a lot of people, again, like I said, you can be from a certain place. We talked about him being from Brooklyn. So that's enough to get people on board with him and support. But you don't look at what he's doing.
Right.
The payday that he lost.
Ridiculous, man.
When he could have faced AJ. And AJ at that particular time was ripe for the pickings.
Yes, he was. Yes, he was.
He'll never get an opportunity like that again. And he's already insured himself of that. But just like he told you he knows, when you were speaking to him, I take that a different way. He didn't want to hear it from you, so he shut you down. But his actions, behaviors, and everything in the thereafter haven't been any different than what it was before you had that conversation with him. In fact, you had more of the same from him.
Right.
And again, this is why I said, just because somebody, he's from my block, he was in my class at school, my homeroom, Oh, I knew him when I was growing up. We used to play together on the playground. Listen, don't attach yourself to people, circumstances, or things that are not of your own ethics. Though they could look like you, that doesn't make them like you, which is why you have to, when people are talking about your community, your ethnicity and everything, don't let them lump you into a box. Because you could stand alone and stand proudly, or you could be a part of a crew that goes down fast and hard.
Right.
You tell the story of the gentleman that y'all was running with and everything, and he was like, hey, y'all, come on, let's go. And you was like, nah. And next thing you know, you didn't see him for 12 years.
12 years. 12 years.
See? It's the same thing of what I'm talking about. Now, y'all grew up in the same neighborhood, played together and did things and everything, but choices. And what is the end result of choices? You see? And we are forgiven of everybody else, but not ourselves, right?
Right.
But if we were accountable for ourselves,
That's right.
then we could flip even that dichotomy of like forgiving everybody else. Because when you can take accountability, you hold yourself accountable for what you do, what you say, how you think, how you live. And when you tell your fellow brother, hey man, get your act together, straighten up, soldier.
That's right.
See, nobody else can tell you that. But if you don't even take the liberty to do those kind of things, this is the end result. And this is just the sport of boxing. But that serious situation that you're talking about, that young man that you grew up with, that's totally different, but it's the same.
It's the same. The principle's the same. It's the same. And let me point this out. It's a shame that I have to point this out, but you know, somebody like the I don't know what this new thought process is with well, I know what it is, but and that's a whole nother show. But you know, this term that we use is overused. Hate. Oh, you're hating on this person. You're hating on that person. No. It's critique because I actually want to see people succeed. Now, someone will come in here and say, why are you hating on Big Baby? Why are you hating on him? Why are you hating on him? Hate. No. I was rooting for him. I wanted him to beat Anthony Joshua down in my city at MSG. What? I was disappointed that he cut himself short. And he ain't been in the ring. After that happened, he wasn't in the ring for like 4 years, y'all. And it's like he got hit the hardest.
Didn't I say, you know, I'm sorry not to cut you. I just want to interject and add. Didn't I say Joshua was ripe for the pickings at that time?
That was his night.
He was such a hype train with Matchroom and Hearn that they were sunning everybody and everything. Like, and he had this golden egg in his hand.
Mm-hmm.
And he freaking blew it, bro. And guess what? We just saw Keyshawn Davis do the same thing.
See?
The same thing. He had the opportunity in his hand. Dude, they don't pass those out like Skittles.
No. I mean, this is ridiculous. And you see, let me ask y'all a question. I'm talking about Jarrell Miller today. It was Keyshawn Davis when he did his thing. When he got on that live stream with Ryan, when Shakur did that, when I see Tank doing dickhead things, do y'all think I want these young, listen carefully, do y'all think that I want these young black men to fail? Why is it that I'm the only person that understands that whatever you do as a black person in this world, there's a big microscope on you? They monitor everything you say. They watch everything you do. That's just it. Barack Obama could not have behaved like Donald Trump and gotten to the White House. It wouldn't have happened. Think about what I just said. Donald Trump does what he does, and oh, he's so honest. I like him. He's so honest. Barack Obama acted the exact same way. They'd be like, look at them. This is why we don't want them anywhere near the White House. They shouldn't even be in Congress. They shouldn't even be in politics. Look at how they act. In fact, if I saw Obama acting like Trump, I wouldn't claim that. I'm like, man, that's not how we act. What are you doing? Why is he doing that? But there'll be a group of niggas celebrating that. I don't celebrate foolishness. I really don't. I really don't. And this is the same rhythm with Jarrell Miller. You think I wanted this brother to fail? Understand what happened. Understand what, not what happened to him. Understand what he did to himself. I don't remember the money, but I want to say it was about maybe $6 to $8 million. $6 to $8 million he was finna make fighting AJ. I don't recall the number, but that was life-changing money from where he came from. And I'm talking about career-wise. It was life-changing. And he blew it because he couldn't put down the pegs, man. And he lied about it for as long as he could. It lasted about a week, and then he eventually apologized for it. And we didn't see him for a while. And then we did see him. He was like 380 pounds. And he was like, he did it to himself. Then he comes back for a real fight. He finally gets, he was throwing a bone. When he went to Riyadh season, he was throwing a bone. He gets in there with Dynamite Daniel Dubois. And Daniel Dubois, he needs a whole other show for himself. I'm so proud of that young man. But everyone was saying, okay, well, you know, Dubois is going to quit because Big Baby's going to do this. And I'm like, you know what? I think y'all got Daniel Dubois all messed up. And, you know, I did a little joke about him because Dubois made a comment during the presser, and it was kind of funny. I did a short video about it, but I was like, nah, Dubois got this. And Dubois did his thing because Big Baby wasn't in the best of shape. And he was a target. And what y'all don't realize is in person, he's a big menacing guy. But in that boxing ring, he's not known as a power puncher. He was known as a volume puncher. But now that the peds ain't in the system, the engine ain't there like it was. You understand? So now he gets stopped by Dubois. Then he gets in there with, I think the next fight was Andy Ruiz, right? He took off a lot of weight. JC, what up, brother? Clarence McLean, Andrew 100. I see y'all. Stephen X, salute. He gets in there with Andy Ruiz, another person that, you know, it's hit or miss with him depending on how he gets ready for a fight. And to me, they canceled each other out. All the talent in the world, but they just underachieve because they have personal bad habits that they just can't get rid of. Food or drugs. You know, so what he does, what Jarrell Miller does, which never fails him, is his mouth. Now, you know where it fails him, where it does fail him? When it doesn't transition in the ring. And that's a problem. That's a problem. Now, the purpose this morning is not to clown Jarrell Miller. I'm pointing out that this brother has underachieved. And he did it recently. Now, I don't know what happened with him and Fabio Wardley, but I was looking forward to that fight. It was a test for Fabio. Fabio has the strength. He has the grit. And he definitely has the power to keep you honest. We saw that. And Jarrell is there to be hit, but we was going to see who's going to crack. Now, the fight was canceled. I read 2 articles. I did a video about it. I don't know what happened. One article said He had an injury. They didn't disclose what it was. The other article said he wouldn't be allowed to fight. And it was very broad. Well, he wouldn't be allowed to fight because of what? Because of the injury? Well, what's the injury? Or he wasn't allowed to fight because of something else. And we all know that he has a past with PEDs or whatever. But they were never clear. Fabio gets in the ring with Huni, and Fabio was getting washed. If that went to the cards, he lost. And he caught him with a one-hitter quitter. So shout out to Fabio Wardley. So in this latest interview, well, I saw Big Baby. He was asked about Deontay Wilder's last performance. And he said he looked like shit. And he got to, but he never liked him. And he got to talking crazy about him. So my thing is this. You got three men. Everyone's frowning on, well, not everyone, we not. It's bomb squad all day, every day over here. But he's getting back. He has a plan. I don't necessarily know what the plan is. I didn't talk to him, or I didn't talk to Tate Jones about it. But they're taking it calm. They have a plan. They're emphasizing what the plan is amongst each other. And they're looking to get back in the swing of things, but they're taking it slow. And I agree with that. You ain't got to jump back into the lion's den right away. Just do what you do. Work on some things. And that's what I saw. Deontay was working on some things. I saw a head movement. I saw him pumping a jab, which is what you're supposed to do. That's fine. You got Fabio Wardley. We clearly see what gives him problems. We found out in one fight what gives him problems.
Yes,
we found out in one fight. I saw everything in that fight. I said, oh, shit. Damn. But he won it. Huni made a mistake. And Fabio, now we know Fabio, he's going to be in there. Fabio, 1 to 12, you're in danger. Now that we know the power carries from round one to wherever. Because he was hurt a few times in that fight. Okay? Now we know. So it's to be respected. All right? So you got Fabio Wardley, who's climbing, which is cool. So you got a former champion getting back. You got a young champ, well, a young lion, you know, with a great back. If you're from the UK, you got a great fan base. That's just what it is. So he got some backing there. You know, he got Frank Warren backing him. That's fine. And then you got Jarrell with the big mouth. So, y'all already know what I'm thinking. Now, I don't know who's going to mix it up with who first, but I'm thinking when Deontay gets back and says, okay, now I'm ready to jump into the top 8, top 5 rankings. Let's get it. I don't know where Fabio Wardley's ranked in all the sanctioning bodies. What I do know is I don't care about the sanctioning bodies because Turkey doesn't. And a lot of y'all goons, y'all undermined the belts anyway.
I believe the WBO might have him number 1.
Really?
I believe
Okay.
so.
Okay.
But the good thing for him is that Frank Warren is kind of the man that's controlling the heavyweight division right now because he has a number of the guys under his promotional company. So he can make the fights as he so chooses and pleases. It's an interesting situation for Warren. But I want to just say something about Fabio Wardley, though. He's basically, essentially, the UK version of Deontay Wilder with his story when it comes to the lack of a real, amateur background, having come to the sport later in his life. And though Deontay qualified for Olympic opportunity, it kind of ran that way for him, and he seized the opportunity and went ahead. But Fabio was even less so, and over in the UK and the European part of the world for the sport of boxing, they call guys with the experience that Fabio had, they call them white collar fighters because they're not guys who were trained up from childhood or early teens or something. They come to fight as a young adult. And he's been matched very well. There was a fight that he had, trying to think of that guy that he fought. What is that guy's name? I'm gonna pull it up. When I saw him fight this fight, I was like, oh, the ref stepped in and helped him. And I didn't like it because I felt like they were angling a victory for him. Yeah, when he fought Michael Coffey, and that was in April of 2023, he got a 4th round stoppage, and that referee, Howard Foster, who's a very popular UK referee, Coffey was kind of dealing with Fabio a little bit, and the referee stepped in when Fabio had an advantage over, and he kind of stopped the fight. And I was like, no, that was too soon, you know. But from that point, I paid close attention to him because the guys he had fought up there were basically the usual suspects when it comes to UK heavyweight boxing. But then he fought a guy who had good amateur background in his next fight, David Adelaide. Now, David Adelaide, even though I don't think very much of him presently, he's kind of the UK version of Big Baby. Got a little bit of a background, amateur. He's got talent. He's got good hands, you know, decent pop on his punches. He's got a big mouth like Miller, but I don't know if the ticker is there like it's supposed to be. And when Fabio fought that guy, he beat the crap out of him, had him on the canvas and everything, and ended up stopping him. And see, I'm going to tell you something. Adelaide had the greater talent. Fabio didn't have the background. But there's something about Fabio under the surface that makes him a real fighter.
Right.
Then I started to see him in a different light. A lot like Deontay Wilder. Do you understand? Because Wilder, though technically he may have left something to be desired, but the fact that he would get in there and face anybody and go after it and win fights. See, when you win, as the old adage that goes along with sports, winning solves everything, right? You can have problems and issues, and if you winning, it can benefit you to a degree that people can sometimes overlook shortcomings or whatever. That's what's been happening with Wardley. Now, he just had a second test, like the Adelaide fight with this kid, Justice Hooney. Now, Hooney, amateur background, good boxer, which was shown and evident in the fight. But somehow, some way, Wardley still found a way to win.
Which was insane.
Fighters like him are dangerous.
Yes, sir.
Because they not only are they confident in their own ability, but they got something that you wish that all fighters had. They got a competitive spirit and nature about them that if you don't get them, they're gonna be in there and hang around until they get you. And that's a tough person to deal with. That's why I say when people are watching boxing, you have to watch the sport, because these ways to evaluate what you're looking at are always present. But a lot of people just don't know what they're looking at.
Right.
If these three who you have here end up facing one another, when Deontay gets to a point where he's ready to step back into the fray of a different level of competition, I say, of course, Big Baby should be that guy first. Wardley shouldn't be that guy. because Wilder will need a sense of momentum. You know what I mean? Because if you put him in there against someone like Wardley right away, what's going to happen is he's going to revisit not only the circumstances that he had recently against the likes of Parker and Zhang and stuff like that, because it's a high level of competitiveness, and he hasn't had a chance to get his sense of winning back and his sense of what he does well back and stuff like that. And Wardley will be looking at him as the opportunity to come up, a name to come up on. So there'd be people with two different agendas. You know what I'm saying?
I'm not sure. Again, I never asked Tay Jones or anybody on that, but they did say that after the fight last week, people reached out to him to get him in the ring. I didn't ask, but I'm willing to bet Frank Warren's was one of the people that reached out to him. I'm willing to bet because you remember The Last Dragon, y'all?
Mm-hmm.
You remember The Glow. Now, y'all laughing because I'm bringing up a movie. But in these movies, there's always a bit of truth as it pertains to real life. The glow. When you got that glow, Bruce Leroy had the glow. But when he fought Sure Enough, he saw a different version of it. And he was like, oh, shit. What's that? You understand? That same glow that Deontay had or has, Fabio got that same glow. Because I'm telling you, if you didn't watch that Huni fight, watch it from beginning to end. Fabio was getting his ass kicked, man. And there was times in that fight where I was watching him, like, every time a round ended, I said, man, he might quit. I said it. I'm like, man, he might quit. He was getting beat up, man.
Do you know, as I watched that fight, I never thought he'd quit. Never. Because I'm going to tell you, it's because of the things that came before. And that's why I said when I looked at him, I was actually pissed off at Huni because I was like, when he got caught, I was like, you fool. It's like you gave him the fight because you didn't want to continue to do what you was doing and just win. You know how they say, win this one, look good next time. He was so far ahead that the only way Fabio was going to win the fight was by a knockout.
By knockout, yeah. Those are 10-9 rounds across the board. And Fabio got wobbled like how many times in that fight, Stormy? He got wobbled badly, man.
A lot. And see, if he were a guy that didn't have heart and stuff like that, he would have faltered under those circumstances. Just like when Adelaide was fighting him, he faltered under that. When Adelaide got dropped by Wardley, he laid on the canvas on his back and looked up at him and smiled and stuck his tongue out like, oh, you got me. I knew right then that Adelaide was a pretender. A pretender. Just like Big Baby Miller can talk that jive. I mean, he talks a good. He called somebody a prostitute in this latest press conference he had. Adelaide. He's fighting very soon. I think either on the fight card July 12th or one of these cards that's coming up. He's a talker, but you could tell when a guy is in there and he's standing in front of you and he's moving his arms and this and that. It's a bluff. It's like the real guys that get out there and start putting their hands on your ass. You know what I'm saying? It's just you're looking at this and not the physical. Fabio Wardley, he don't look like a fight. He look like a regular dude. He ain't even got no sculpted physique or nothing. He looked like a regular dude. But he can freaking fight, man. And like I said, he has what you would love all your favorite fighters to have. But so many of them don't have that. So many of them don't have it.
Here's what I want people to understand. The way I was going with that. Huni was Fabio Wardley's King Kong Ortiz.
Yes.
he was not supposed to win that fight. The more, because I did not know what the hell a Huni was, because I was supposed to be Jarrell Miller in there. And I did not take over for me 1 second.
Yeah. But Huni came into that fight as a guy out of Australia. We didn't know him, but he had a reputation of being a fighter that was on the come up. And in fact, they were talking about him possibly facing Moses Otuma. And if he did face Moses Otuma, he would have been a good test for Otuma because of his boxing ability. He has maybe average heavyweight power and pop on his punches, but he got fast hands and he throws combinations. That's another thing about Huni that you can like, is the fact that he puts his hands together in succession. So I believe when Fabio fought him, he did come out in that first couple of rounds trying to really go at Huni, but when he saw that he couldn't get him like that, and then Huni was able to kind of sidestep him, give him some angles and things like that, then it was like it became a boxing match, and suddenly Fabio was being shown to be the guy who was lesser in the boxing department. Now, if Huni had stood there and tried to trade and go blow for blow, kind of like what Frazier Clark did with Fabio, he would allow Fabio the opportunity to be more engaged in the fight and have more success. Because Frazier Clark fought him that way, and he was able to get to Frazier Clark. The first fight back in March of 2024 being a split decision draw. The second fight was a 1-round obliteration of Frazier Clark by Fabio, and that was in October of 2024. I think that was the fight card for Bitterbeef and Bivol's second fight. So when you saw those guys, you know, in there like that, big heavyweights looking to trade, Fabio, now that he has a lot of confidence in his punching ability, it began with that Frazier Clark situation in the rematch. Actually, the first fight, because he had Clark down in the 5th round of that first fight, but was too anxious and too amateurish trying to follow it up to get him out of there. But in that second fight, he got him. He nailed him in that first round. Against Justice Huni, he tried to come out that same kind of way and was humbled a little bit by realizing that, you know, boxing is something that he's going to have to do and save that power for opportunities, but he's going to have to use a more skillful approach at the upper level of the division, fighting against the more experienced guys. And Huni came in with only 12 fights under his belt. So Fabio, you know, he realized that, you know, he was still in the fight until he was able to land that big shot. Frank Warren is doing a great job with the heavyweight division. He has a number of fighters in his stable. And these guys are being put in great opportunities. And he also has another heavyweight former cruiserweight champion. What's his name? Lawrence Okoli.
Lawrence Okoli.
Yeah, yep. Lawrence Okoli is now in there, and he's going to be on that card that's coming up, I think, July 12th. Man, the heavyweight division has got a number of names there that is really interesting, which is why it's best that Wilder go that take it easy route, because Wilder can still beat almost anybody in there, but he needs to get his confidence back. He needs to get his timing back. And, you know, going back to when he so-called lost that second fight against Fury, we called for him to try to take some fights of lower tier fighters just so he can work on some things, get his confidence back, and come, but him being the man he was, he wanted to go right back into the fire, right back into the burning house. And see, sometimes that's not advantageous for you. It's something that you might think you don't need to do because you're at a certain level, but you do it to familiarize yourself with what made you successful.
Correct.
You do it to also familiarize yourself of the things that you want to work on to be better your next time out. So now he's doing that. It's just a little bit unfortunate that these other matters have taken place in his life and time has gone forward, but he's still a man that hasn't taken a lot of punishment. You know, people think about the losses that he's had, but the fights that he's won were all ended inside the distance. Right. So it's not like he was, fighting wars every fight, and knocking somebody out. So he can do this even at that advanced age. And even someone suggested like go on a bit of a George Foreman like tour, fight some certain tier fighters, work on certain things. This fight that he just had against Tyrell, he was able to work that jab a little bit. Maybe the next opponent, he work on the body punching a little bit and inside fighting. You know what I'm saying? And you fight 2 or 3 of those. Man. In the meantime, while these other dudes are mixing it up, and you get a chance to look at and assess. Oh, okay, I see what he bringing in, because that's the way that the real fighters have always done it.
Right.
If you look at how AJ was handled by Hearn in Matchroom, that's not the way to do it.
Right.
Drew, you could tell the chat. I told you a while back, when AJ got the title away from Prince Charles Martin, his growth stopped right then. He never got better than who he was that night that he faced Prince Charles Martin. Because what they did was they acquired the title. Then, of course, when he fought Klitschko, they threw some other titles in there and everything. But people forget that Klitschko had been off for 3 years.
3 years?
3. Yep. That's the equivalent of Deontay coming back fighting Zane. He had been off for well over a year.
He didn't need to do that, but he did.
He didn't need to do that, but he's his own man. He's like, I'm going to go in and do that. And then now you see what happened. Plus, he was injured going into the fight and never talked about it, never made a fuss over it. So when you see fighters doing it the correct way, you matchmake, you find your way to elevate and work in between, all the while watching what everybody else is doing.
Yep.
Because where there's a loophole for you to slip on in and get your stuff off, that's when you do it. But that's calculating. That's when you know you got good people working for you.
That's right.
You see, because AJ, he never got better. Even when he got rid of that original trainer that he had, when he got that first title, I forget the gentleman's name, but he's a very popular trainer over there in the UK. The white gentleman, I forget his name. Somebody could maybe help me out with that. But he got rid of that guy. But he had this sense around him like, oh, he's great. He don't need to fight this guy. He's great. He's better than that guy. But without testing, without getting in there. McCracken, yeah, thank you, J. Cool. Bob McCracken. When he got rid of that guy, because that guy wanted AJ to get better. If you looked at AJ when he fought Dillian White, they had some rocky moments in that fight, but he defeated White. And at that time going in, they were kind of considered at the same level, basically. Then a couple fights later, AJ gets in there with Klitschko, and he beat the crap out of Klitschko. You look at how he used to throw his punches and throw the combinations and uppercuts and stuff. AJ was a threat, but he never got better than that. You see? And then by the time he had faced Daniel Dubois, he had regressed.
Hold on 1 second. I just want to read this real quick. Anthony Latham, it's very true. He said, Fabio moving forward will be praised in the UK for the same sentiments Wilder was trash for 100%. I agree with that. Tate Jones in the building. You hear me, Tate? Tate, you're on mute or something. Can't hear you. Tate. You gotta get his audio together.
Yo,
Yeah, I can hear you now.
what's good with it?
It was good, bro.
What's going on?
We talking about but you see what's going on when you had called. You see what's going on.
Yeah.
This guy Jarrell. Well, you know what? Let me not speak out of ignorance. Didn't D have a spar session with Jarrell already?
Yeah.
How'd that work
that
out?
was a while ago. Yeah, I know Jarrell Miller went to the hospital. He was in there for a couple of days. He had a concussion.
Damn.
Yep.
That was in Alabama?
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah,
So you already slept him.
Man, look, man, that man went to the hospital. I know that. And he had a concussion. So I don't know what Big Baby got going on, man. But seeing he obsessed with lying and stuff like that. But to each his own. You know what I mean?
So you know that there's a plan, and you had said before that right after the fight, a bunch of people reached out to you guys, and they're trying to get y'all off track just to jump in the ring and throwing money at y'all, but in essence they're just trying to use y'all to bring their fight up. Is that the case?
Of course.
Can you spill the beans about who exactly reached out, or is that like hush hush?
I mean, all the top promoters, it wasn't like no fighters or anything, but all the top promoters, of course, trying to get their guy to fight Deontay and things of that nature. He's still been connected in talks with Turkey and different people like that. You know what I mean? Like all the top promoters called. Everybody done called. You know what I mean? Everybody.
Frank Warren called y'all too?
I don't know if Frank called. I know Shelley said that a lot of top promoters and a lot of top guys who, in that ranking system, in those ranking systems had called. I know he said that, but I ain't for sure like on which promoter, but he did say all the top promoters. So if Frank called, he probably did. I don't know, but he didn't say specifically if Frank called.
Man, how many times y'all say y'all fighting the rest of the year?
September, September.
Since September. I ain't hear you, brother.
Headed to this damn car, but I think mid-September. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, mid-September.
So going into 2026, let's say about March 2026, y'all think y'all be ready to jump back into like the serious spotlight and start entertaining some of those phone calls?
I mean, that's up to D. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that's up to D. Personally, I think we need about two more fights.
Yeah, I just want y'all to just take it gently, man. You know what I'm saying?
And what I'd like to add to it is that I think going forward, not only opposition that can assist with him working on things, but he needs rounds of live action, because not only can he work on things with that, but to get back in that mix of feeling what it feels like as, you know, your stamina changes as you go through, you know, more than 2 or 3 rounds, feeling that whole thing of knowing where his opponent is stamina wise and where his power may be dropping off or whatever, the opponent, you know, things like that, because you can make adjustments and assessments in live action under the lights with those kind of situations. Quick blowouts is not going to help, especially when you're going back in against the type of opposition that people consider at the top of the sport, whether it's the top 5 or top 8 or whatever. So that's what I was thinking, that rounds are important, and productive rounds. We're not talking about just rounds of just like not, you know, doing much, but productive rounds, scoring, that's another thing. Scoring, winning rounds, man. Not waiting, not being, you know, like, oh, I'm gonna catch him sooner or later, but, you know, engaging. Pop, you using the jab, you know, oh yeah, that's a 10-8 round, that's a 10-9 round, you know, that kind of thing. And it's been a little while since that. One of his best efforts was that, you know, that Bermain Stavern fight, the first one, because a lot of people thought that he couldn't box, you know, and he outboxed Stavern and he won rounds and everything. He hurt Stavern in that fight too. Stavern fell on the floor and dragged Deontay to the floor and everything. He was hurt because he was about to be knocked out. And people don't think about that, but it still was great to see him get through that and get the decision because he worked in there. And that's what we're talking. Well, that's what I'm talking about when I speak of him, you know.
Yeah, he did a brilliant job of that. You know, like I said in that last fight, if Katz was paying attention, because I know everyone was anticipating a knockout and things of that nature, I understand that. But once I figured out what was being done, I knew that he was getting his feet wet, working on some things. I saw the jab. The homie started to try and throw punches in the pocket. I saw a lot of head movement. I was like, oh, look at that. You know, D was moving his head on the inside. I was like, oh, shit, look at that. You know, and the one thing that I like to see more of, Tay, D threw a left hook to the body. And I heard it through the computer. Bam! I was like, oh, I'd like to see more of that. He threw that left hook to the body. And I said, man, the brother got cracks in both hands. I could just envision him like throwing hooks off the jab. Like, you remember Vladimir Klitschko used to throw a hook off the jab very good. D could do the same thing. He can also jab, and throw a hook to the body. Oh my gosh. I mean, there's so many things. But these guys trying to get him in the ring, you know, they're just trying to disturb his groove. And we ain't playing that.
And I'll tell you something else that he could use. With that 83-inch reach he got, dude, that stab jab to the pit of the stomach.
Oh.
Because he can punch, you know.
Yeah.
Because he can punch. The thing about it is the body don't know the difference between a hard puncher or not. It's the punch placement for a body punch. You know what I mean? You get hit right in the body, you go down. But can you imagine this guy stab jabbing people to the pit of their stomach and, like you said, left hook to the liver, whatever? It's like, and then they got to worry about that plus the right hand too. It's like,
hold on, Stormy. Let me read this super chat, and I gotta address somebody in the chat real quick. Boxer Fan Times 4, he says, AJ Nut ready for Wilder. Salute, brother. Some dude named Kingmaker says Wilder is done. No, he's not. He just fought and he won. So I don't know what you're doing. I don't know if you're trying to get a rise over here. He's not done. He's here. Wilder's here. Wilder just fought. Wilder won.
Well, last time I checked, Kingmaker, Dubois walked right through AJ.
Uh-oh.
And AJ has not decided to come back and fight again.
And he could have.
And they even gave us a fraudulent claim that he's been injured and that he had to have, that addressed and everything. AJ ain't never been injured as far as we know prior to the Dubois fight.
You know why we bring up AJ? We bring up AJ because, and Tay here, he'll tell you, that fight could have happened regardless after the Zhilei Zhang loss, the Parker loss, actually. The AJ fight could have still happened. And,
Parker loss, yeah.
I love how when people are so quick to say what Wilder is incapable of doing. But
Wilder, listen, just like they said about Errol Spence at the welterweight division, Wilder had did all the damn heavy lifting, and you niggas out there don't want to give the man credit for what he's done. That man has fought everybody that was a threat, win, lose, or draw. And none of the guys on the other side have faced any of these dudes, with the exception of Alexander Usyk. He fought both AJ and Tyson Fury and beat both of the guys. Okay, but when you talk about guys like Fury and King Kong Ortiz, Zhang, Parker, man, Deontay's fighting all these guys. And Parker fought Wilder after Wilder had been off again for a long layoff, but wouldn't fight Wilder when Wilder had the WBC title and he had the WBO title, and they were looking to do a unification with Parker, and Parker ran away from that. In fact, he went over there and ransomed his belt to Matchroom and Hearn.
That's right.
And he's been a turncoat ever since, being best butt buddies with Tyson Fury over there, learning the nuances of cheating and the trade of the cheating over there from the gypsies, okay? Even vowing that to not want to fight Fury because that's his buddy. But he left the word butt out of there before the word buddy, and he want to do that, and he want to take advantage of Wilder when Wilder has been off, had ring rust, and he had 4 fights.
When we talk about fighters being done a disservice in the last 15 years, Wilder's one of those names. Guillermo Rigondeaux is one of those names.
And wait a minute, I wasn't done cooking.
Go ahead, cook.
And Parker, the last time I checked, was anesthetized by Joe Slow Joyce.
Uh-oh.
Right?
Uh-oh.
Is that fact or not?
Yes, sir.
So when you want to get on someone, get on these damn pretenders out here, bro. Don't be getting on this man who had more title defenses than any of the other fools that you're talking about. And don't come in here with the falsehoods of talking about, I like Wilder. No, you don't. Because you brought out not one arguing point against what we're talking about, how he has put in the work and everybody else has looked to claim and pick up belts that are dropped and all of this shit.
Yep.
There's been a whole orchestrated thing against Wilder since he had that viral moment with Radio Raccoon.
All right, hold on.
You know what? You damn right. There's passion. See, you don't know the difference between passion and emotion, because emotion would exert from my feelings. I'm speaking fact. Isn't it fact over feelings? Prove me wrong of what I've said.
Kingmaker, but you can't do that.
Feelings. Therefore, emotion doesn't have anything to do with it. There's passion here, brother. We speak the truth about the sport of boxing. All who are involved. Go try to follow up and see what the fuck is going on with Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. Do yourself a favor and get an education.
Boxing Fan Times 4 say AJ can't get any more T's for his TRT. Salute. Oh, salute to Messi Michonne live in the building. Salute, Queen. How you feeling? Go subscribe to Messi Michonne. That's not a boxing channel, but you'll be thoroughly entertained on current events. Salute, Queen. Great to see you. Kingmaker, I can tell that, you know, and I say this respectfully, you're a simpleton in boxing. Let me highlight what you just said. He said Big Baby is a come forward throwing power puncher, and he is bigger than Parker. It's been years since Wilder had a KO. You're a simpleton, and I say this respectfully.
Wilder had a KO this year. What the fuck you talking about?
What are you talking about? Yeah, okay. Now watch this. Kingmaker. Big Baby's a power puncher? When was his last KO? Because I can tell you what his last fights were. Andy Ruiz, and they fought to a draw, as a matter of fact. And before that, he got stopped by Daniel Dubois.
Yeah, coming forward as a punching bag.
Coming forward, getting hit all in his face. Now, you just pulled up, but Tay Jones is on the panel. He in the camp with Deontay. He'll tell you, Deontay already knocked Big Baby out and sent him to the hospital, bro. That's why he's salty in his feelings. That's why. Ain't nothing's changed. You know what's changed about him, though? He can't juice anymore. That's what's changed. You see, you just pulled up, young man or old man or whatever you are. You just pulled up, brother. So when you talk about emotional, no, we're challenging what you're saying. We're challenging your ignorance. All right, so what you said in this sentence has nothing to do with Wilder's KO ratio. Because Wilder's KO ratio is higher than Daniel Dubois. Daniel Dubois has been stopped how many times? Twice. I'm sorry, he quit twice. Wasn't he a quitter before he fought Big Baby Miller? And I said I picked Miller to beat him. The general idea was Daniel was going to quit again. I said, no, he's not. I know the circumstances in which he quit. I don't need to talk about it. I said it before. And Daniel whooped his ass. There was no part of that fight that Jarrell won. Daniel whooped his ass. And Deontay has a higher KO ratio. So all that walking forward you're saying, it's not going to work with Deontay. Deontay already flatlined him. See, this is what you don't know. You're playing a video game in your mind. You don't understand about intangibles. Look, you're a casual, dude. I get it. I get it. It's the sexy thing to say when someone's done. Daniel Dubois was supposed to be done, but he flatlined Anthony Joshua. I don't hear anybody else saying Anthony Joshua's done. It's only Wilder. Wilder's done, but I like him, and I don't want to see him get hurt. Yeah. That's the sexy thing to say.
Why did you have no comments about Fabio Wardley? When I was breaking down Fabio Wardley, his talents and his abilities and everything. And I told the truth about Big Baby Miller. But as soon as someone mentions Wilder, here you guys come.
Amazing. And I'm not disrespecting anybody in this meme that I made. I'm giving Fabio Wardley props. He's hella dangerous. I just said, Hooney was Fabio Wardley's Ortiz. Do y'all understand that Deontay was not supposed to beat King Kong Ortiz at all? Do y'all understand? First of all, these niggas out here were saying that he wouldn't even take the fight. I remember it. I said, what do you mean he's not going to take the fight? Oh, no, you're going to take that fight? No, AJ didn't take the fight. And Ortiz was AJ's responsibility. Can we tell some truth here? Is that emotion? What's your name, young man? King what? I hope y'all didn't block him. Kingmaker? Okay. Is that a lie? Was Anthony Joshua's responsibility King Kong Ortiz? That's the truth. He never did it. Eddie Hearn signed Ortiz to shelve him. That's a fact. Deontay said, give me that King Kong Ortiz work. So it went from he'll never fight him to, oh shit, he's fighting him. Now he's going to get beat up. Well, you almost got your wish. You know what I learned about Deontay Wilder that fight? Heart, many times, will trump all the skill in the world. Because skill for skill, Ortiz was better. But who got stopped? On paper, Deontay had no business winning that fight. He not only won the fight, he stopped him. And then y'all start crying. The ref cheated. New York cheated. Brooklyn cheated. Everybody cheated. So then what does Deontay do? You give me that King Kong Ortiz work again. I was like, hey, yo, you ain't got to do that again. What Evander Holyfield was like, why is he doing that? He ain't got to do that again. He did it again. And he was dropping some rounds. And then what happened? Bing, fight over. Are you convinced now? What about boxing skill? What happened there? Power, what happened there? See what I mean? And then what do y'all say? Oh, well, King Kong is old. You see, there's no winning with you guys. And then y'all don't brush that off as fact, but then y'all say, oh, well, I like Deontay. No, you don't. No, you don't. Y'all don't know shit about intangibles. Y'all don't know shit about this game other than what you're seeing on the outside. I like to use this example. The Russian Olympic team versus the American Olympic team. I forget what year it was. They made a movie about it. In that movie, when they were selecting the American team, there was a conversation. They was running around trying to get NHL players, pro players. Man, we got to beat the Russians. And the coach says, played by Kurt Russell, I believe. He says, I'm not looking for the best players. I'm looking for the right ones. The right ones. Why do you think Dream Team 2 wasn't as good as Dream Team 1? Dream Team 3 wasn't as good as Dream Team 1.
There can only be one Dream Team.
Right. Never mind the fact that Magic and Bird and Jordan and Pippen and Drexler, never mind that. You need the right players to make it work. Teamwork makes the dream work. You need the right players. God damn it. Fabio Wardley was getting his ass kicked. And he never gave up. If he had quit in that corner, I'd have been like, well, I saw that coming. He kept coming out, and he landed one, and it ended the fight. He landed it, and it ended it. Now, the purpose, Jarrell Miller has been talking. He's been talking. Asking you shall receive. Hence the title of the show, Big Baby versus Wilder versus Wardley. Wilder's putting in work. He's working on things. He'll be back in the major mix like how we're used to seeing him. But right now, he's taking his time. Don't rush the brother. Because for now, as it stands, he's giving you everything. And y'all don't appreciate shit. Y'all don't. The difference with Wardley is he could do the same thing in the next 5 years, but he'll be appreciated because British fans are just better than you American fans. British fans are better boxing fans than you guys are. And they're more educated. Y'all monkeys in America are just stupid. I'll say that. Fabio Wardley will be celebrated if he walks the same line as Deontay did. That's just the reality of it. What I'm saying is, this dude, Jarrell Miller, I don't know what happened with the Wardley situation, but Wardley was ready to fight, and for some reason he didn't. I'm not sure what happened, but he's healthy now. Run it. He was asked about Wilder, and everyone has something negative to say about Deontay. He said he looked like shit. Wait your turn. Wait your turn, because I heard about the sparring. I never really got the full story, but I heard about the sparring. And he got slept. So yeah, there goes that. And that's what they call them in the UK, right? They call them a sausage. That's what Eddie Hearn told me. He said, yeah, we call him a sausage. I said, oh, he's a sausage. That's what Shiraz called Belanga, called him a sausage. It's kind of funny. It's kind of funny. So yeah, y'all didn't block that fella, did you? I don't know if y'all did.
They resurrected him.
They resurrected him? Okay. Well, you know. So, you know, Kingmaker, if you don't get emotional about an injustice, I don't know what to tell you. But that's another thing that these men like to fling out. Emotion. All right. I don't think you're emotional enough. But emotions are triggered by feelings. When you fling that out, it becomes a dead issue, especially when you're talking about boxing. It becomes a dead, not an issue, a dead statement. Sort of like how women call men narcissists all over the place. Oh, you're narcissistic. I've seen videos where a man says, oh, I'm narcissistic. What does that mean? Put the mic in her face. And Shorty is trying to go to Google to find out what the hell narcissistic means. So you're using words you don't fucking know what it means? That's what you're doing? So Kingmaker, when you come here and say you guys are emotional, no, you came in here firing shots. Bang, 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 bang. Miller walks forward, power puncher. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, Miller's a power puncher. Can you name the fighter he's one-hitter quitter? Deontay Wilder's a power puncher. I could say Fabio Wardley's a power puncher. Miller was a volume puncher, and now he don't have a whole pharmacy of PEDs in the system. His work output has dropped. Go figure. He's a big menacing guy. A power puncher, he's not. He's not. George Foreman was a power puncher. Stop it, man. You gotta get your lingo correct before you come in here talking. Andrew 100 says, I'm from the UK. I've never heard anybody use that word sausage. Shiraz, when he was talking to Belanga at the presser, he said, in the UK, we call guys like this a sausage. So that was the first time I heard it. I was like, oh, okay, whatever. Well, maybe it's a cultural thing. Or maybe the black people don't use it over there. I don't know. There's that. But yeah, emotion is a feeling. I get my emotions when a fighter that I support or fighters that I support get frozen out of opportunities, get treated unfairly, like Franchon Cruz DAZN. She was treated unfairly. She was in there with a woman that was going through a whole sex change, and then Mauricio Suleiman act like he didn't want to hear us. I get emotional when I see Guillermo Rigondeaux get frozen out of opportunities. 4 contemporaries fought each other and didn't bother to fight him. That got me emotional. He had to go up 2 weight classes to fight Vasily Lomachenko. I was at that fight, and when he walked past my aisle, my damn daughter's bigger than him. That's a small dude, man. And he had to fight Lomachenko, who was all of 147 pounds that night. And then they stripped him of his WBA strap that he never lost in the ring. So I get emotional about things like that. I get emotional about what they did to Deontay. The Daniel Kanahan thing, the long counts, the tainted glove, the poison of the water. They tried to kill this man. So are you really a supporter of Deontay, or am I being too emotional? Can you talk about this man's career like I can? Like how Stormy can? Like how Tay Jones can? Or are we too emotional? And even through all of that, he's still here. And I still think he beats Jarrell Miller. Because Jarrell Miller, what has Jarrell Miller shown you that'll say, yo, this guy beats Deontay? The Andy Ruiz fight? The Daniel Dubois fight? Which fight that you've seen, and I'm talking to Kingmaker if he's still here. Because, you know, guys, they get annoyed and, you know, they leave, whatever. But has anybody in the chat, has y'all seen anything stylistically that says this guy could beat Deontay? Because I looked at the Andy Ruiz fight, and I'm like, you know, Fabio, he was getting beat up against Hooney, but Hooney is, after that fight, I said, I want to see Hooney again. That guy's good. That guy's good. He just got lined up and made a mistake. But that guy's good. I'd like to see him again. So has anybody seen anything in Jarrell Miller's last 3 performances that says, hey, man, this guy, he beats Deontay right now? I haven't seen it. Jarrell Miller gets hit a lot, bro. Go look at the Danny Dubois fight and then get back to me. Go look at the Andy Ruiz fight and then get back to me. They were hitting each other. They're like punching bags. I think Deontay knocks Miller out. Exactly. You know what, Tone? Watch this. Miller needs to fight Hooney. You got away from the Fabio Wardley fight. Do that. Do that. Exactly, Shawwell. Caballeros, he's the dark horse. I don't know why people ain't paying him more attention, but I see what he's doing. Caballero's a whole problem. I don't know why no one, bro. That man's dangerous. But whatever, I don't know what I'm talking about. Anybody? Can anybody say what can Big Baby Miller beat? Can he beat Deontay right now? Could he beat Fabio Wardley? I'm gonna say no. I haven't seen anything. But he'll talk a good one. I mean, that's what Brooklyn niggas do. That's what Brooklyn niggas do. Okay. Show and prove. And here's the funny part. Or the sad part. Watch this. He could sign to the fight. Is he going to make it? Is he going to make it to the fight? DOG, salute. Is he going to make it? Is he going to get injured now? Is he going to pop dirty? Is he going to make it there? Think about who we're dealing with here now. I don't know why people are like putting him on this pedestal like he's actually done something. He hasn't won a major title. AJ was right for the picking. He blew it because he couldn't keep the pharmacy out of his bloodstream. We don't see him for 4 years. He comes back 380 pounds. I mean, he got a win. He beat somebody because he had to get a tune-up. Gets Daniel Dubois. Dubois beat him the whole fight. But he's still talking. Cool. Gets in there with Andy Ruiz. They cancel each other out. What's Andy Ruiz doing? No one's saying, hey, man, y'all got to run that back. I didn't see enough effort from either one of y'all fat asses. No one says that. But fine, man, fine. Now he's supposed to beat up on Deontay Wilder? Yo, listen, man, I had Fabio Wardley stopping him, man. All of that growling and screaming he did. Yo, you put me in a rap song. You put me in a rap song. Fabio was like, I don't know what you're talking about. What are you talking about? I was like, man, oh, bro, you know what? I'll see you in the ring. I'll see you in the ring. I cracked somebody's skull in the ring. I'll see you there. And then the fight gets canceled. And that's how we get Hooney. He trained for Miller, not Hooney. And Hooney was beating on him until what? That right hand that he cracked the skull with, he hit Hooney with clean one time, and it was a one-hitter quitter. That's what happened. Am I lying? Am I lying? So let me ask you a question. Where does anybody get off coming in my chat, pause, saying, yo, Miller beats Deontay? I don't see it. What are you talking about? I don't see it. Wilder came back. He was working on some things. Where do y'all get off talking about this guy beats Deontay? 100%? It's boxing. There's a small percentage there. But watch this. Deontay already flatlined him. Did y'all know that? Kingmaker, did you know that? Did you know that? Listen, sparring, it ain't no different. It ain't no different. People say, why do you make such a big deal out of sparring? Because it matters. It really does. It really does. That's why a lot of fights don't get made. That's why a lot of guys, you know, when they take off on their careers and they pick up a few belts, I'm like, hey, what about this guy? I'm like, oh, no. I'm over here and he's over there. Then you start finding out, yo, they sparred 4 years ago. He was kicking his ass. Y'all want me to know how? Y'all want me to prove how that's true? Y'all ain't gonna like this. You ready? Didn't we hear about Daniel Dubois knocking out AJ about 8 years ago now?
Good night.
Didn't we hear about that? Hey, wait a minute. Didn't we see Devin Haney beat the shit out of Tank Davis in Doghouse Rules? We heard about it before we saw the video. We heard about it. We was like, wait a minute. Bill went in there. They put up like $5,000 and Bill won the bet. It was Doghouse Rules. That means somebody quit. So if Bill won and it was Devin versus Tank, that means someone quit. And then we see the fucking video. It's like, whack, jack, smack. Devin. Whack, jack, smack. Devin. Whack, jack, smack. Devin. Whack, jack, smack. $5,000. And they tried to edit the video, but the Tank fans, when they edit that video, that y'all were living and dying off of what y'all thought y'all heard. I said, yo, Bill won. What are y'all talking about? Then the real video came out. You know, like, whoa, no, that was just sparring. They were kids. Well, why aren't they fighting now? Why aren't they fighting the last 5 years? Uh-oh. Y'all want another example? I'll give you a quick one. Years ago, I heard rumblings that somebody beat the shit out of Floyd Mayweather in sparring. I'm like, damn. Who? Sound like an owl. Who? A guy by the name of Errol Spence. When I first saw the kid, I said, that's the kid? Him? He did that? Then I saw him fight. I'm like, oh shit, yeah. Kind of makes sense. And Errol, he didn't use that to catapult his career. Daniel Dubois didn't use that to catapult his career. Devin Haney didn't use that to catapult his career. They just spoke for themselves. And then when the audience says, why don't you fight this guy? No problem. Oh, hey, guy, why aren't you fighting him? Because Houston, we have a problem. Oh, you didn't know he fucked him up already? Oh, but that was 4 years ago. Well, ain't nothing changed. If something's changed, why didn't they fight? You don't think that shit happened to Floyd? You think it's a lie? Floyd never denied it. When they stuck the mic in Daniel Dubois' face, he finally admitted it. They said, "Yeah, you sparked AJ in sparring." He said, he looked around. He said, "Yeah." I wasn't shocked that he knocked him out. Y'all were. I wasn't. Was AJ not breakdancing on the floor? There was no part of that fight he won, man. The round he got knocked out in, he landed his first good right hand. And then threw a fucking uppercut from my balcony back there and ate a right hand and got slept badly. And none of you motherfuckers are saying that AJ's done. That's the wild part. That's the wild part. So Deontay's back. He's putting in work. And F the haters. And I think he beats Jarrell Miller. So he can go ahead and talk. We need that. But I don't know what Miller got lined up. But I like to see a Hooney fight. I think Hooney beats him. Yo, listen, man. If you want to apply the term gatekeeper to anybody at the heavyweight division, you apply it to Jarrell Miller. The thing is, Joe Townsend in the building, salute. The thing is, in my opinion, to be a gatekeeper, at one point you at least had to have held a title. He's never done that. He's never done that. But who am I, right? It is what it is, man. I'm gonna get out of here. I got a lot of shit to do today. Stormy, let them know they can find you, good brother.
And everybody can find me right here on YouTube. The channel is Stormy B Man. That's Stormy B Man in all caps, but no cap.
Salute. Tell you still there?
Yeah, I'm here, bro. What's good?
Yeah, we about to close the show, man. Let them know how they can find you, good brother.
Oh man, I'm over at Pac-Man ATL_Tay. Definitely be there. Just dropped some videos. Did it live a couple days ago. And then we're about to get it live this week, next week for the press conference. So got press conference next week. So be going live from there as well.
Yes, sir. Up in this thing, man. Salute to all y'all, man. Salute to everybody. Vent Moselle, Cash App, Super Chat, man. Y'all be safe. I don't play with fireworks anymore. Salute to you Wilder haters. Goddamn monkeys. Y'all be safe. It's a cheat day. Y'all eat y'all hot dogs and y'all burgers, y'all ribs and everything. Y'all better get on that goddamn treadmill tomorrow. You dig? Bronx on deck.
Move!
Why are you gay?
Who says I'm gay?
You are gay.